quick look surprised. This is from Wolf Street, wolfstreet.com. Global bank sabotage Uruguay's efforts to legalize marijuana. It's hard to do business without banks. Well, you know what they're doing in like Colorado and whatnot, right? Because it's still a federal crime, but the state has legalized it. So these people who have these grow farms or whatever houses and legally doing it in Colorado, they basically have to have like massive vaults built in onto their property somewhere to store the cash, because they can only use cash. They can't put it in a bank because that's, there's all those laws, federal laws, banking law, can't put it in theirs, right? So they got to buy these vaults and stuff to store all their hard-earned cash. And boy, if I've heard they've got a lot of it. So much so they don't even know where to put it all. The vault becoming small. However, you can see where blockchain type stuff could really come into play here. And I know there's like a marijuana coin thing, crypto thing coming out here shortly. That I think allows that buying and selling, legally, not illegal, legally doing it through the blockchain though. That would definitely solve a lot of ways of, having to put your money in the bank and the bank won't do it, First country to fully legalize the recreational use of marijuana is Uruguay. Has suddenly found itself facing an unexpected obstacle: the international banking industry, which translates down to the United States Western World banking industry, aka SWIFT. It all began a few weeks ago when one of the 15 pharmacies that had agreed to sell the 2 varieties of cannabis distributed by the Uruguayan state announced that it was withdrawing from the scheme after its bank, Santander, had threatened to close its account unless it stopped providing services for the state-controlled sales. Shortly afterwards, it was revealed that other banks, including Brazil's Itaú, had canceled the accounts of the private companies that had been granted a license to produce marijuana, as well as some cannabis clubs. To fill the funding void, the state-owned lender, Banco República, stepped up to provide financing to the 15 pharmacies involved in the scheme, as well as producers and clubs. But within days, it too was given a stark ultimatum. This time from 2 of, guess who? Guess who's going to? Wall Street's biggest hitters. So hold on, it wasn't the international governance or other countries, whatever? No. Actually, the answer is yes, because the banks are them. No, 2 banks. Wasn't the government. 2 banks. Given a stark ultimatum, this time from 2 of Wall Street's biggest hitters. Bank of America and Citi. Either it stops providing financing for Uruguay's licensed marijuana producers and vendors, or its dollar operations could be at risk. A very serious threat in a country where U.S. dollars are used so widely that they can even be withdrawn from ATMs. What was that meme in the Webbot all those years ago? The death of the dollar. If you're Uruguay and you realize the amount of money we'll earn in taxes and everything being collected off of this industry, marijuana, cannabis, is going to take our country to the next level and our citizens with us. But then we don't get to use the US dollar. Oh man. Right? And it's been so ingrained. They're probably going to have to make a little change. Hey China, Russia, BRICS nations. Can you add a U to the end, a brick U? So that we can brick the US dollar and U for Uruguay. We're begging. We are apparently begging countries left and right, to stop using our dollar. For some odd reason, right? We always, global dollar hegemony. We got to have the US dollar. It's the world trade. It's the world currency. And I'm telling you, the Webbot reports from long ago even talked about this kind of stuff. Death of the dollar. Countries will stop using it. There's going to be instances, it said, where Our troops are stuck overseas. Maybe even citizens too. I forget if it said both citizens or just the troops. But, hey, we want you out of our country. Get lost. Okay, I'll get on a plane and get out of here. We don't accept US dollars. Okay, well, I'll convert them. We don't convert them either. We don't want them. Find another way home. That was a meme from a long time ago in the Webbot. And you could see how aggravated you would be if you were a country like Uruguay, where you'd almost want to say that. That's it. I've had it with you, freaking American, and then your freaking banks. Damn banks are telling me that's not. We'll be able to use dollars. You know our country uses dollars. You're putting the strain on it. I've had enough. China, make a deal, baby. We'll use the yuan in your gold-backed system that's coming. We are like begging these people, these countries, to just. We're putting, we're hammering. We got a hand outside the grave, outside the damn coffin. We have a hand with a hammer in it, outside somehow, hammering our own nails in the coffin of ourselves. This is unbelievable. This is so stupid. Under the USA Patriot Act, handling money from marijuana is illegal. Now hold on. The Patriot Act was created after 9/11. I thought we had the Patriot Act because of terrorism. They slipped in marijuana being illegal in their money. And violates measures to control money laundering and terrorist acts. However, U.S. regulators have made it clear that banks will not be prosecuted for providing services to businesses that are lawfully selling cannabis in states where pot has been legalized for recreational use. If that's the case, why are we giving Uruguay a hard time? Oh, you guys are using our dollar, so there's demand for our dollar over there. Yes, there is. Oh, by all means, Bank of America, stand down. Citigroup, stand down, or you'll never. We'll claw back that bailout money. Oh, okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. But the banks are the government. Who's surrounding Donald Trump? Which bank is that? Goldman Sachs. Isn't that amazing? However, U.S. regulators have made it clear that they won't be prosecuted, yada, yada, yada. Some cannabis businesses have been able to set up accounts at credit unions, but major banks have shied away from the expanding industry, deciding that the burdens and risks of doing business with marijuana sellers are not worth the bother. However, said banks, including other banks, have been nailed for aiding and abetting money laundering. Isn't this incredible? Little slap, not even a slap on the wrist. Pay a fine. Yeah, you're busted. Pay a fine. But that may not be their only motive. There are also huge profits that can be reaped from laundering the proceeds of the global narcotics trade. According to Antonio Maria Costa, the former Undersecretary of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, over $350 billion of funds from organized crimes were processed by European and U.S. banks in the wake of the global financial crisis. You guys are processing the money anyways. This isn't about this, is it? There must be something else with Uruguay. Interbank loans were funded by money that originated from the drugs trade and other illegal activities. There were signs that some banks were rescued that way, Costa said. To date, no European government or bank has publicly denied Costa's charges. Meanwhile, numerous big banks on both sides of the Atlantic have been caught and fined, some repeatedly. He's getting into it anyways. I didn't even have to say what I was going to say. For laundering billions of dollars of illicit drug money, in direct contravention of the U.S. anti-drug legislation. Whatever the bank's real motives in denying funds to the Uruguayan pharmacies, the perverse irony, as the New York Times points out, is that applying U.S. regulations intended to crack down on banks laundering the proceeds from the illegal sale of drugs to the current context in Uruguay, because it's legal there, is likely to encourage, not prevent, illegal drug sales. Despite that fact, the pressure continues to be brought to bear on Uruguay's legal cannabis businesses. Banco República has already announced that it will close the accounts of the pharmacies that sell cannabis in order to safeguard its much more valuable dollar operation. Right, so they're backed into the corner. We have to do it anyways. So naturally, you'd have to. You couldn't say no now. Your whole country would be in trouble. You can't have access to U.S. dollars. It'd be a nightmare. So I'm going to say, mark my words, like I said earlier, they're going to be shying away from the US dollar in the future. Because they know, believe me, they know how much money's in that cannabis industry. And they want the tax revenue, the pharmacies, all that going to be paying. They want a piece of the action. But they can't say, no, we won't comply now, or they're cut off completely. Their whole dollar system goes away. It's our dollar over there. So they have to, yeah, we'll comply. Sorry about that. We got it. We'll, pharmacies, stand by. Super secret meeting. Pharmacies, come over here. Come over to my house tonight. Listen, we're getting with China. The whole system here is about to change. It's going to take a little while. Probably a number of months. Maybe a year, whatever it is. And once we switch over, you guys are golden. For now, we need you to go outside the system and find funding. We'll help you, but got to keep it secret. That's what should be happening. You're going to let America tell you, your sovereign country, what you can and can't do? We'll take our dollar away. See? And now the people over there are probably saying, damn it, Uruguayan government, why did you attach us to the dollar? Why are we using that dollar here anyways? We knew this would happen. We knew it would happen. It's happening. Now they're going to be upset. And when people get upset, change is going to come. The wind or winds of change will be coming. In other words, a state-owned bank of a sovereign nation just decided to put draconian U.S. legislation before a law adopted by the Uruguayan parliament authorizing the sale and production of marijuana. The law's prime sponsor, Uruguay's former president, Jose Moisa, is furious. During a session of the country's Senate, he accused the banks of directly attacking democracy, which they did. He's absolutely right. His successor, President Javier Vázquez, is far less enthused about the plans to legalize pot. And I bet his deal of him being president over there, you want to be president of Uruguay? Yes, I do. You want to make sure those votes, when they get counted, have your name on it? Yes, I do. You're going to make sure that US dollar usage stays intact in your country. Got it. Okay, you'll be the next president. Now we've got the old ex-president undermining him. The people, of course, want this too. But the El Presidente is not, he's okay with this whole, yeah, shut it down. We don't want to lose our dollar cents, Even one, the potential implications of this issue extend far beyond Uruguay's borders. For years, opposition to the U.S.-backed war on drugs has been building across Latin America. At the 2013 UN General Assembly, Latin American leaders of all political stripes rose to the podium to take a stand against the war. They included Bolivia's Evo Morales, Costa Rica's Laura Chinchilla, Guatemalan President Otto Perez Molina, Mexico's then Foreign Minister and now Finance Minister Jose Antonio Mieda. Even Juan Manuel Santos, the President of Colombia, the United States' staunchest ally in South America and third largest recipient of U.S. military aid after Israel and Egypt, bemoaned that his country, which received more than $3.5 billion in counter-narcotics aid between 2002 and 2011, and was frequently cited as a model by the Obama administration, quote, has suffered more deaths, more bloodshed, and more sacrifices in this war on drugs, than almost any other, with the obvious exception of Mexico. By now, it's painfully obvious to all but those who financially benefit from it, that the U.S. government's heavily militarized war on drugs has been a dismal failure, despite the slaughter of over 150,000 people in Mexico in a war that no one is winning and just about everyone is losing. The drugs keep crossing the border, and in many cases in greater numbers than ever before. Uruguay's efforts to legalize marijuana could represent a sea of change in drugs policy in a region that is being ripped asunder by the global narcotics trade. If successful, it could go viral as other countries, including Canada, set out to legalize marijuana. But if big global banks like Santander, Citi, and Bank of America get their way, this scheme will be snuffed out before it has a chance to make a difference. Which you're probably thinking, well, if they're already using laundered money that they know comes from illicit activities like drugs, why are they giving them such a hard time? Because there must be a bigger agenda in which the banks are essentially the police officers of the corporate power behind them, which, in my opinion, 100% opinion, is Big Pharma, who makes and manufactures their drugs and can put patents and things on their drugs and also charge you an arm and a leg for their drugs that don't cure you, just hide the symptoms. But drugs like marijuana can work wonders, and you can't patent it. It's created as a plant on Earth. So they got to use the strong arm of the banks, snuff out all the competition, snipe them out. That's my opinion, but I don't know that you would probably disagree with that. I mean, why else? Bank turn down money opportunities? There's a bigger power play behind there. I'm telling you, it's Big Pharma. Take care.